That calling for you was when you decided I'm an entrepreneur or I want to be an entrepreneur?
I didn't actually know, really. So I come from my dad's an immigrant. My grandfather came over in the 40s. My dad came over in the 80s. Married my mum, she's very young, 18. So I came from a very sort of working class family.
Okay.
And like any kid, you look through the catalogue, right? And you want stuff and you want the nicest things. And if I wanted stuff, I had to figure out how to make money. Sometimes illegal, sometimes legally.
Yeah.
You know, I was, I guess, classed as a hustler. But when I was at school, there wasn't such a thing as entrepreneur.
Martin Sandhu is an entrepreneur and the owner of a leading health tech agency called Nuom. It aims to tackle complex challenges through design and innovation. Martin plans to elevate the game further with the use of AI.
Give yourself a bit of a pat on the back.
Am I flexing now?
You can flex if you want, you know. Yeah, what helps you stand out in this chaos?
There's opportunities in chaos, and that's what I'm really good at. That is my superpower. I've spoken about it on LinkedIn. We spoke about it earlier.
Yeah.
Is I can spot opportunities and somehow I can make money from them.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom podcast. I am your host, Luke Beastall, and I am so excited to be welcoming Martin Sandhu, a Nottingham-based entrepreneur. We're going to be delving into this episode in just a second, but I always like to open it, you know this, whenever we do these episodes, kind of how we connected. We connected through a mutual friend, and we've kind of kept in touch ever since via LinkedIn, so a platform where we share a lot of stuff, and I'm commending Martin on his stuff here. The kind of depth that it goes to with the human-centered approach, I think, is something I'm really passionate about, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this. The health aspect as well is very much into the mental health, so we're going to go into a lot of that. But without further ado, I'm super excited to have you on, Martin. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's
So excited to be here.
I know, it's a pleasure. And guys, you won't see, but Martin gives us a nice warming gift of, I mean, how many, is it 12 donuts?
It is, man. I can't lie. I've seen the videos. I've seen what good shape you're in, and I was thinking I need to fatten him up. It's Christmas is coming up, so gotta fatten you up.
I'm getting some Christmas podge. So there you go.
I can't turn up somewhere and not bring gifts. So
that's really nice, guys. So just to give our audience a bit of an insight to yourself, feel free to introduce yourself and what you do and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Martin Sandhu, Nottingham-based entrepreneur, I guess. I've always been an entrepreneur since a young age. My main business is Nuom, which is a health tech agency, which is based in Nottingham and Birmingham as well. And I'm a co-founder of an AI startup. I'm an investor. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I just like keeping busy. That's it, right? It's like keeping busy. So yeah, I'm what I always say is I'm planting seeds and I'm watering them, and some are going to grow, some aren't going to grow, some are hopefully going to flower. And that's how I keep busy. I'd love to keep busy. I'm always coming up with ideas, and these just kind of turn into businesses or brands that I'm building. And my goal really is to build 2 businesses and brands a year. And that's what I'm doing now until, I guess, the day I croak, I guess.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, as I was listening to you there, you could really tell your energy behind your mission and what it is that you're wanting to create. And, you know, obviously you're helping people along the way as well. You're bringing business to life. You're bringing people in. You're working alongside people. I'd love to know, when did you first, that realization or that calling for you was when you decided I'm an entrepreneur or I want to be an entrepreneur?
I didn't actually know, really. So I come from my dad's an immigrant. My mum's, my grandfather came over in the 40s. My dad came over in the 80s. Married my mum, she's very young, 18. So I came from a very sort of working class family.
Okay.
And like any kid, you look through the catalogue, right? And you want stuff and you want the nicest things. And if I wanted stuff, I had to figure out how to make money. Sometimes illegal, sometimes legally.
Yeah.
You know, I was, I guess, classed as a hustler, but when I was at school, there wasn't such a thing as entrepreneur. I'm sounding quite old now, but I graduated.
It is a new term that flies about.
It is, yeah. I mean, there's degrees on it
Yeah.
now, which
Oh, wow.
I still find bizarre, because I think being an entrepreneur is a life experience. It's not something, I mean, you can teach the skills, which to me is business studies, right? Economics, buying something at a cost, making a profit on it and selling it. But I was a hustler, so, you know, I always had little things going off there and here and there. And then I guess I went into industry, typical my dad wanting me to go to university. He wanted me to be a doctor.
Right.
I decided to go to uni and do computer science. So we're talking early noughties now.
Yeah.
Not really clever in terms of book smart, but always was able to figure out, learn good memory, I guess, as well for exams. And then, just a case of, like I said, I wasn't particularly clever. And at A-level, I really struggled just because, well, you're 16 to 18, so you're interested in girls, alcohol, and fashion, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of my 16 to 18. And I got ungraded in computing, mathematics, and I had a really bad time at college, basically. So I was told I either go and work in a factory, and nothing wrong with that, and I did a lot of summer time there, and just that's my living, and that's what I'm going to do. Or I get one more chance, and I flipped through the UCAS book, picked a computer science degree, and that's what I decided to do. Just decided to put my head down, got into uni. Nice. I got a first in computing when I actually finally decided to apply myself. But I only worked in industry for a year because while I was in industry, I decided that, like an entrepreneur, I had a side hustle going.
Right.
And that side hustle got really noisy and really intense to the part to what it was they wanted me to leave my job and come work for them. So 24, told him to pay the deposit of my house or my flat, triple my salary, pay for a car.
As you do.
Yes, you do, have all the latest tech. It was a startup, and it was during the financial crisis, or just before the financial crisis of 2007. And 3 months later, I got made redundant. And it was at that time, I just thought, like I've just recently spoke about on LinkedIn, no one else is going to help you get to where you want to get to. You got to do it on your own. And I was fortunate enough, I only had a mortgage to pay. So I didn't have any, kids or any other responsibilities. So I just decided to give it a go. I had skills to be an engineer, and I just grafted, man. I just hustled and worked hard, and I just when my back's against the wall, I just work hard and graft because that's all I know what to do. And if that's being an entrepreneur, that's what being an entrepreneur is.
Yeah, no, listen, I love that. I love that story. I love how you've kind of gone through that little bit of a timeline. And I think just the fact that, you've had that challenge, you haven't had it perfect, or it hasn't fell into place in a way. It's been quite non-linear, you've gone a little bit back and forth. So just from this experience of, I guess, being, if you want to call it, a bit of a bad boy at certain points in the college world, and then eventually getting your head and knuckling down, what looking back on it upon reflection, what did you learn most about that whole experience, looking back at it, even about yourself?
So for me, the biggest one was disappointing my family. So I obviously come from an Asian family. Okay. So education is very, very important. It's important to lay the foundations, because if you want to do other stuff, you can experiment and you can go and do and be creative and do other stuff, but fundamentally you have to have that education. It's like a footballer, right?
Yeah.
They want you to get your GCSEs or whatever it is, and they want you to maybe, especially in American sports, they send you to college, right? Yeah. So you can, if you don't make the NFL, at least you've got a college degree. It's a similar thing with my dad and what his ideas were. So you can be, like, I wanted to be a DJ.
Oh, yeah, no way.
Yes, I wanted to be a DJ, right? So I had my decks and I was mixing and I wanted to be a DJ. But he says, you can do that, but you've got to do this first. And okay. So for me, it was the biggest lesson I learned, and I haven't done it since, is just not letting my family down in what their, I guess, aspirations for me were. And then just about myself, really. Resilience was a big thing. And it's a theme that's popped up again and again, COVID, Brexit, Liz Truss screwing everything up. There's been these cycles that I've been an entrepreneur, or I've been a business owner. Yeah. And to me now, when COVID happened and when over these things happened, I know what to do. I know, I know that this is this phase, this is what needs to happen. And that just comes from experience and just being resilient and building calluses, I guess, just going through it wave after wave after wave. But resilience, I guess, and I know a lot of people say it, but resilience is one of the biggest things I learned during that stage. No, that's really powerful stuff. And I think where you've just shared there about your family culture and, you didn't want to let them down, I guess as a young kid as well, going through this route of not
you're still finding yourself, aren't you? Really,
You don't know what to do.
You don't know where
you
your
don't
life's
know-
going to
yeah,
take you.
you
You
don't
don't
know what
know. I mean, when you're flinging things like entrepreneurship, you know, I mean, talking about my dad, for example, his generation, he thinks it's fluffy. You
Yeah.
know, he don't think it's a word. I mean, what does that mean? It's shiny. It don't sound. But there is something with it now, like you say. But I guess for you then, when you was doing all these side hustles, what was life like at home, having conversations with your family when you was trying to build?
I didn't
this?
tell them.
Ah, okay.
I was just concentrated on get my GCSEs
Yeah.
and get my A levels. I had a tough period with 16 and 18, to be honest. I just, growing up, you go through those phases as you do as a teenager. You're trying to find yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a difficult period, but a period that, on reflection, I learned a lot about myself. But yeah, I mean, I never really spoke to them about owning a business or being a business owner. It wasn't really. It was do your degree, get a job, find a girl, get a mortgage, get a kitchen island, get a car.
Kitchen island?
Yeah,
Come on.
BMW or an
Yeah.
Audi or a
Yeah.
Mercedes, right? Get some kids, put into a pension pot, pay your mortgage off. Anything outside of that, it just wasn't really discussed. Even though, traditionally Asian people, build a lot of businesses, but it just wasn't really discussed. My dad was very good at maths. He did accountancy, or he did a mathematics degree in India, but when he came over in 82, it was worthless over here. So he wasn't able to use it. So, it was more education, an academic route, basically. But I was more creative. And as I've got older, I realised that I'm just naturally more of a creative person.
Yeah. No. So really, then I guess in a way, if you was to talk about it, let's just say obviously you didn't. You just kind of was you got your head down, you cracked on with it. What do you? I mean, I know it's not relevant now, but what do you think would have kind of happened if you think back? Because obviously you were so strong in education, but you were so creative, but you didn't want to dim your creativity by sharing what your ideas you wanted to build. You just wanted to kind of build it.
Yeah. I think the way I would have explained it, my brother's 16 years between me and my brother, and he's similar in terms of he has his own, so he lives at home still, he's 25, I think, or 26. And he has his own label, music career that he's doing. So I guess he's a good example of probably how it would have been, because he's actually lived through that at the moment.
Yeah.
And he was quite open with it. And similar, once again, it was just a case of just do your degree and then see what you want to do after that. And go and do that. And if it doesn't work out, once again, at least you've got something to fall back on, right? So I think that probably would have been the same sort of conversation that they would have had with me. Whether they would have let me be a DJ and go around the world, I don't know.
Yeah. So with the DJing then, do you still dabble a little bit with it, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
I brought some Pioneer DJ decks, and I'm just a bedroom DJ now. But yeah, I do like I find it really therapeutic.
Okay.
And my kids just come in the room and they think it's a club and they jump around and dance to like techno, which is kind of weird.
Oh, yeah.
So they go like, but
That's
yeah,
so
it's good. I enjoy it. It's another way to escape. So on a Friday in the afternoon, before I pick the kids up, I'll probably just play around with I'll listen to some new tracks, play around, mix them.
Yeah.
I just find it, once again, it's another creative outlet.
Yeah, it's a really, I guess in a way though, like you've just said, what you're trying to build and what your mission is year on year. I mean, I guess that for you is, like you say, that therapy. It's a bit of a release for you, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I wish I could do more of it. It's just there's not enough hours in the day.
Yeah,
that's the big challenge at the moment, especially when you've got kids as well.
Well, yeah, that is that. But then again, if they're joining in the party with you, then at least you can
Yeah.
occupy them. You can do a little bit while they're dancing about.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's I really enjoy it. I love house music. I always have. And yeah, I just find it very, very therapeutic when I play.
Yeah, that's good. Would you ever? Would that be something in the future for you? Do you think?
Go and do it?
Yeah, or like a business or some kind of venture down that route. Do you think?
We always laugh, me and my friends. We sat in a room once saying that we was going to do a music label and an events company. Yeah. But we never got anywhere. I think we were just always drinking all the time at that time, so it's probably never flew off. Would I do something? I think so, yeah. I think maybe, doing something around that and getting out of the bedroom and playing in person would be nice. I think that would be a first step. I haven't done that in years. I mean, it's at least 20 odd years. So that would be the first step. Maybe I'll just do it at a birthday party. That might be the thing I do.
That'd be good.
There you go.
Yeah. You know, I mean, could I could think about Remy and maybe get a DJ in
There
for
you
next
go.
time, you know.
But it's worth it. I mean, David Guetta gets paid, what, 100 grand
Silly,
a set? I think he gets paid more than that. In fact, it's a million, I think, he gets paid in Vegas. So there's money to be made in it if you go.
And even for you, it's therapy. So it's like you're having therapy and you're getting paid.
I don't even think he plays live. I literally just think he just puts a USB in and presses play.
No way.
I reckon he does.
That's
he gets away with it though.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah, he does. Now he's got the name for himself. So with obviously yourself now, I mean, you've obviously learnt a lot about yourself. You know, when you look back, I mean, if we was to look at where you are now and go back to your 16-year-old self, you know, if there's anybody out there like the audience watching in on this, that doesn't matter the age, you know, you can start whenever. It's just taking that first step. What have you taken as like something that has really been a big teaching to you that you would want to give back to somebody and say, look, this is what I've been through, because obviously everybody's journey is different, but this is what I've learned, and I think if this is a path you want to go down, this is what I would suggest.
Yeah. So I always tell young sort of entrepreneurs that I speak to who come up with me, got this idea, I've got this.
Yeah.
Just build your network.
Okay.
Make friends. Have an idea of where you want to go and what you want to do, and just build friends and build a network in there. That is the most important thing, because your network is literally worth your net worth. It's it's a statement that's so true. I wish I would have done that a lot earlier. I did it quite late. Just go out and speak to people. Everyone's kind of stuck in their bedrooms and there's not a lot of events and things happening, but just go out. It's really uncomfortable when you start. But it just becomes easy. Like anything, it just becomes easier and easier. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. I always tell everybody to do that. And then in terms of, everyone's got ideas. What the best thing to do is try and validate those as quickly as possible and as cheaply as possible. Like that's you can do a lot of stuff. I was talking to Vish today. He's talking about an idea that he had. And he would go, how would I go about raising angel money? How would I go about raising VC money? And I was saying, well, before you do all of that, what research have you done? Like, what's the market? What's your ideal customer? Have you spoken to your ideal customer? Like, that doesn't cost you anything but time. Yeah. So you go and speak to them and do the research, and then you start to see patterns and be able to hopefully build a proposition around that you can then go and validate, whether it's bootstrapping a WordPress site, whether it's setting up a stall somewhere. Go and validate it as cheaply and easily as possible. I've been guilty of not doing that. I lost $250,000 on a marketing business because I just thought that I could just do what I'd done before.
Right.
I never validated it. Very, very painful education, but a very good, valuable experience in terms of what not to do.
Yes, sure.
So that's why I always say, just do stuff as cheaply as possible. And now you've got the tools, like,
there's so much in there.
Like you can set up a YouTube channel. Yeah. You can get paid Google ads. Like you can get $1,000 on Google ads.
Yeah.
You can build a site in no code. You can set one up on Squarespace. Like it's never been easier to set up a business. I think with a lot of people, it's just that they have such big ideas and they want to do like the big release. Just do something really simple and lean and just figure it out and grow it from there. Yeah. That's the most important thing.
That's a really the big word validation there. I think really struck me, but. Just before I go back onto that, because I think there's some really good points that you shared there, Martin, actually, is that I think just hearing what you said, though, like about the beginning part of your journey, which I guess a lot of people take value from, is you hustled. So there's a hard work to it. So, you know, I think as well, like, again, people have all these ideas, and again, I'm encouraging the audience as well to think about if they have an idea, is validating it is not just with like one person, or it's not just trying once and then expecting, oh, that's it, it's not working. It's that constant battle against maybe the fear of rejection, the fear of failure. Like obviously you found yourself, what you've shared, there has been failure. There has been learnings, like that, for example, what you've just said there, losing $250,000, you know, that's a failure, but a learning at the same time. So when you said there about obviously people having these ideas, starting small. So if you was to literally, let's rewind and say you was going back in time and you was a young entrepreneur, so you're the same age as them, you're in the same room as them. Now knowing you've got the experience, what would be the first step for you? I know you said about building small, but what would you do as in action right now?
So when are we talking? Are we talking about the time I grew up or now? Because there's a difference.
Yeah, so obviously, so talking about the now time.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference because of the technology aspect, right?
Yeah.
So there's a massive difference. So if I was to do it now, I could build what I had. I could build it with like 2 people, like scale it up, because you can use a lot of automation and AI that's available now to do a lot of the work. I know there's a lot of crap AI as well, but there's actually a lot of good AI as well. So the thing at the moment is about building businesses as lean, getting to revenue as quickly as possible, and doing that with like minimal resource as well. And those kind of businesses that can do that can generate long term a lot of revenue. They can sell for a lot more as well, and also they're more resource efficient as well. So what I would do is would find a really good co-founder, because I did everything on my own.
Okay.
So first thing I do is find a really good co-founder who's got the complete opposite skills of what I have.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm quite unique because I've got quite a varied skill set in terms of 20 years of, I was a developer, I was a product person, I've done operations, I've done finance, I've done sales, I've done marketing, I've done design, I've design thinking. Yeah. So I've got this like, when you talk about a CEO or a managing director or someone, I've got like 360 experience, right? So like I could develop something, I could design something. But if I was to set up now, what I probably would look at would be somebody who's just really smart on AI, like literally, because you can just do so much with that and automate a lot of that. But I would definitely find a co-founder, maybe even maybe another one as well who could do more of the sales and BD stuff, and then I would concentrate on building the business proposition, validation, and marketing in terms of content generation, because getting eyes to what you're doing and what you're building is really critical in today's world, to differentiate yourself, to make it more unique, to make it more human-centered or human-centric, as we've spoken about. But yeah, I think going back to the original question, definitely just finding a co-founder or 2 co-founders to share that burden with.
Yeah, and I like the fact that what you said there is finding people that are complete opposite.
Yes.
To you. I think that's really good, because obviously you're going to be bouncing off each other, you're going to be building a partnership.
You need to be challenged as well.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing as
You
well.
don't need yes people. No, because they're the worst.
Yeah.
Like you can just boot them, they're the worst. And I've had those people as well who, when you're talking about the marketing agency, everybody was just, yes, great idea. And I'm just going, this is going to be easy. Yeah. This is literally, I thought this is easy. I can just set this business up because I've already done another one. It's going to be exactly the same. But what I needed people and what I needed from them was, no, this isn't the way it should be, because I've done this I've done this for another agency. I've worked, I need that external advice, basically. I need to be guided. So I like people who always challenge me, because I'm like, why? And it's the way we learn.
Yeah.
And it's the way we evolve as well.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely spot on. And I think I don't believe there's enough of that today in the world. I think we're kind of not soft, but I think there's elements of business. I was having a conversation like with Ollie before this about, we can kind of be pepped up or fed a lot of stuff that it's all positive and it's all going to be easy and it's all going to be plain sailing if you've got a great idea. But like what you said there, it's like if you're with somebody that's going to go like validate, ask you questions, powerful. I guess really it's about then being challenged and then battling through that and coming out the other side.
And it's tough now. It's not like 4 years ago where you could walk into a cafe, have a conversation with a VC and have an idea and they just write you a check.
Right.
I'm going through this process right now with a number of the companies I'm involved in. It's really hard to raise capital.
Okay.
Like they want to see revenue generation. It's the old school way of building a business. This is I've never taken any investment in any of the businesses I've had, apart from obviously the ones I've co-founded recently and I've been involved in. But Nuom and every other venture, I'd not had any investment. It's all been done just through old school graft and work.
Yeah.
But in the old school days, if you had a business, you went to the bank, you put your business model down, your business plan, and the bank would lend you money, and that model is, we're going back to that way, I guess, in terms of validating that idea. Now they're looking at more revenue generation, and it's just tough. It's really hard to raise capital at the moment. And I've seen it with the people that I'm involved in, the founders. They're struggling because they think they have this amazing idea, and they do have an amazing idea, but they just aren't able to scale it and bring in resource because they can't get the capital. So it's that, like, do I go and work in industry and just give up on that dream? or do I just stay with what I'm doing now? And entrepreneurship, as in like at that early stage, it's not as glamorous as sometimes it's made out to be.
No, definitely. And you've spoken about resilience, which I think obviously a lot of that kind of comes into this, what you've just shared. So what do you do specifically to navigate these challenges at the minute, if you're obviously going through it yourself?
Well, for me, like I've been through this process myself multiple times, so I know it's a timing thing, right? Yeah. So at the moment, here in the UK, everything's negative, it's crap, you're right, and we're getting screwed over with tax. Like we have a deficit and it needs to be paid. So the next 5 years are going to be shit, basically. Yeah. And there's people pissing and moaning that I can fuck off to Dubai, right? Or
I've seen, yeah. It's like,
well, I'm not gonna lie, I looked at going to Dubai years ago as well, and
I thought about it as well.
Yeah, I thought about it because the idea is, the romance of it is nice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Dubai 7 or 8 times now, and it's just not for me, and it's not for my family, and it's not for me. We spoke about before we started recording. I love green. I love nature.
Same.
I love the smell of wet grass, right, and mud.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, so for me, I love going cycling, trekking. I love, and also want to be around near my friends and family. If I could take all of that and plonk it there, I would go over there. But for me, it doesn't have that, and I have too much respect for the region as well. I've got great friends over there, great business people that I know, and to build something over there, you really need to be over there. You can't just half-arse it from over here. So for those who want to go over there now, that's great. For me, once again, I'm an opportunist. Like if people want to leave, for me, that's like, okay, well, when things start to turn around, because they always turn around, I'll be here to sweep up that market share. So that's the way I would look at it as well. But yeah, I forgot what the question was. Sorry, I went over the time.
No, but I like that though. It was actually really good what you shared on it, because you're actually standing by what you want as well. Because I think as well, when you start out in like business and where you want to go, I mean, you talk about the economy, you talk about what we're going through. It's easy to kind of escape and think that, like you say, you just talked about entrepreneurship's not as glamorous as what people think. I know people who live out in these other countries and
it's not glamorous.
They're saying the same thing. It's going, it seemed good. But then there was a lot of things that people don't know how the expenses are, the visas,
100%.
Everything.
I mean, it's all nice. West Palm Beach is nice. JBR's beach, right? All of the downtown's lovely. But that's not where you're going to live unless you're a millionaire and multi-millionaire as well. So the reality is, it is a great place. And also, you talk about hustle. Like those guys over there, they hustle hard, and everybody is on some sort of like take on in terms of like what it is. It's very strange market, very, very aggressive, a lot of people in there. But yeah, I love going there now and again as a holiday, but like setting up a business for me at the moment, I've gone over the last 2 to 3 years back and forth to go, is it for me, is it not? And I've just realised that no, it's not, and I'm going to stay where I am. It's not great, but you know what? No one else is going to help you. Once again, going back to like very day dot when talking about resilience, if the government aren't going to help you, if the council aren't going to help you, I mean, they're broke, then we have got to do something about it. And one of the things I'm looking at doing here in Nottingham, in particular, is starting to build a bit more of a tech scene, a startup scene. So I'm going to be launching a new startup community. I'm going to probably set up as a sort of social enterprise.
Nice.
And just start to build the foundations. And then hopefully from that, my vision is other startup communities will build, working with the universities, retaining some of that talent that's going to leave the city as well. Because we have like 150,000 students and they kind of leave the city.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, massive student population.
I've seen it in Nottingham, yeah.
So, how can we retain some of that talent that's going to leave the city and build their ideas here that will hopefully attract outside investment, which will create more jobs and opportunities in the city, which will create more investment coming in, which will hopefully bring everything a level up. And then as we come out of this 5-year cycle that we're going to be coming in with, it's going to be lots of public spending and high tax. My viewpoint is stay here, build the foundations. And it isn't a 5-year plan for me. It's not a 2-year plan. I'm like looking at this as like, this is, for me, is like 20 years from now, right? This is long term. It's baby steps to something we can grow. And if I'm 62 and it's worked out, that's great. If it hasn't, I've had a lot of fun along the way trying to set it up. So that's where I'm. And like I said, the whole thing is to spin out other communities from it and to
That's
bring
big.
more investment in. Yeah.
that's
So that's
big.
my big vision of what I want for this city. Like I've never left Nottingham. I had the chance multiple times, London, Dubai, New York.
Yeah.
I've never left because it's home. Like,
Yeah.
it's just home for me.
Yeah, and that's good that you share that as well, though, man. Because obviously you can get caught up in these worlds where money talks. You know, people have got all this glamorizing that, but you've been there, you've experienced. It's not like you've not been in that environment and thought about it. Obviously, you're a family person. I can relate to a lot of that. Like for me, I wouldn't see myself moving and stuff because again, I like being near family and stuff, especially when you've got children and stuff. It helps with all those aspects.
And it's friends, right? As you get older as well, like I'm quite close, very, very tight with my friends. And, you know, when they need me, I can be there in 20 minutes. That's quite important to me. Right. If I'm on the other side of the world, I'll just regret if I wasn't there. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing for me as well. So it's not just Dubai, it's just anywhere really. It's really important. So I love this city. It's a little bit down at the moment. I mean, you're walking around, it feels a little bit rough. Yeah. But I mean, the council are gone bust. So.
When I talk about Mansfield, they're struggling as well. It's not great. But I think just because the question was anyway, you answered it really in the way you've kind of shared it. It was just the navigating this challenge. Yeah. And navigating challenge. Obviously, you shared that there about this 5 year. You've obviously done your research. Yeah, it's not just a 5 year vision for you, but what you've done in this adversity that we're obviously going through. It's in this moment in time. A lot of us, you know, and I won't lie, I've felt this as well. You know, with obviously the tax rise and everything going on, you could think the world's against me here. What's going on here? I feel like, and then you go into that victim mode. But what you've done is you've opened up a door of possibility and opportunity, which I think what I've taken from what you shared there. But you're not just doing it on your own.
No,
you wanted to bring people with you, which I think is good.
Yeah, and I want to bring loads of people with me. I want to just bring this thing up because I think the more people that are on the journey, the more people that will get involved, the more people that will be inspired, it will spin out. And for me, it's if we can bring the city up, we can bring the region up, right? It's not just Nottingham, it's Derby, it's Leicester, it's Mansfield. Yeah. You know, the whole East Midlands, it's a massive old place, right? And then you've got the power of the West Midlands as well. So you've got this whole Midlands engine powerhouse that we can just bring it up and to bring more investment into it because the talent's there and the opportunity is there. It's just everyone, like you said, feels like a victim. You know, I've sat at tables recently and it's like, you know, corporation tax and inheritance tax, which I think is a horrendous tax anyway. But it is what it is, and there's opportunities there's opportunities in chaos, and that's what I'm really good at. That is my superpower. I've spoken about it on LinkedIn. We spoke about it earlier. Is I can spot opportunities and somehow I can make money from them.
That's the mate. That's
yeah. So that's kind of been the trend that for the last 20 years, basically. So hopefully that continues. But yeah, and that I think that spotting opportunities for the city as well. I'm like thinking big vision now. Yeah. Because it's also the city that my kids are going to grow up in. Yeah. So it's important for me.
You're absolutely spot on at the minute. There's a lot of negativity going around. There's a lot of like weight. Everybody feels heavy. They look heavy. They look tired, drained. Yeah, obviously, if you're going to watch the news every single day and listen to that, you're going to feel that. But I think just hearing your perspective is quite uplifting and it's refreshing to hear because, all right, I know what you're saying. Like you talk about Nottingham as a city. I talk about the village mindset. You know, you've got a village mindset, town mindset, city mindset. They're very, very different. But I think with you saying that, all right, if all these people are going away and you're trying to build up this in the local area, there's so much opportunity because, like you say, the talent's there. It's keeping them there to express themselves and allow them to build something that they are passionate about because it can happen. They don't have to go miles away to build what they love. Yeah.
No, it's important. They don't have to do that. Like I said, so many students here, so many foreign students that come in as well, that can contribute to the economy as well and the local economy even more, not just leave. It's just giving them the platform and giving them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. So, you know, from like your own... because I love the opportunity mindset. I'm quite optimistic myself. From you now, what do you think stands, and this is about you giving yourself a bit of credit as well and giving yourself a bit of a pat on the back.
Am I flexing now?
You can flex if you want, you know. What helps you stand out in this chaos?
I found that being authentic and being me, I was really nervous for years to be me because I'm not very good at writing. I'm I'm not probably the best talker as well.
You've been putting yourself down a lot, Martin.
Okay.
You can talk well, mate. Yeah.
But I think just being authentic and being me, I think once you realise, so I'm 42 now, and when you're in your 20s, you want the watch, the car, the girl, the house. Well, maybe not the house, but you want the pad. And want the clothes, right? You want the designer clothes. Then you get into 30s and it's like the house, the kitchen island. Everyone wants a kitchen island.
We haven't got, well, we've kind of got one.
I don't see why we need one. You can get to the kitchen without needing an island in between. And then, the usual stuff. And then you get to your 40s, and if you're married and settled down like me, and I've been married for 13 years now.
Nice.
Been with my wife for 17 years. And it just becomes a case of, what do you want life to be like for me, like when I'm 60? So that's kind of what I'm planning to. Sorry, I forgot the question.
No. Just keep going.
Okay, cool.
It's fine.
So what do I want life to be like when I'm 60? And that's kind of where my mindset is into working towards that sort of that goal. And to get to that goal, you have to be yourself. You can't be anyone else. And how can you be when you've been 20 years of this experience? So you want to use that experience to achieve that goal. So for me, just being authentic is the most important thing. And that's kind of how I write. I write how I speak on LinkedIn.
And that's good.
Yeah, I think it is good because you can also tell it's not AI as well. And it isn't, because I just literally write it. And then, when I meet people, I'm just authentic. I don't really wear a suit. I go to meetings in a baseball cap a lot of the times.
Any reason behind that? Is that like a look, an image you want to?
It was my brand, to be honest. I had I'm joking. It was just I like caps. The only problem with caps, and this is probably another thing people should know about, is it starts to create like this bold patch here.
That's why I'm not going to wear caps, and thank you for that advice.
Yeah,
so it'll soon be happening.
I'm going to need to go to Turkey, I think, to get that sorted out. But yeah, just be authentic. I think that's the most important thing, and people they'll just come to you. Like you have this aura about you, and people like being around me when we're doing business and just generally because I just be me. And just I take the piss.
You bring donuts.
I bring donuts. I do bribes. I just be authentic, and if you don't like me, you don't like me. If you like me, you like me, and it's as simple as that, really. I haven't got the time in the day for people that are trolls or haters. I just don't. You get like nasty messages now and again on LinkedIn,
sure,
and just all social media. I'm just like, no, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got the mindset for that, and you're not worth my time. So just be authentic. That's my thing. And for me, I think if you're a good person, things just happen. I'm always about the journey. I always say I'm always about the journey. Everything I talk about is, I'm involved in an AI tech company. I'm a co-founder and investor. A lot of these aren't going to work, but the journey and the learning that I have out of them is really, really valuable. It's the same as the $250,000 that we lost. I couldn't learn that at university. They wouldn't have taught me that.
There you go.
So, it's very expensive education, but it's actually fundamentally put me in a pathway in a different direction. So for me, just being authentic. And it's really hard because you get influenced by social media loads. So trying to stay off that is very hard as well.
Yeah, I think that there you shared, and I think just talking about those learnings as well. Like you've stepped out, you've stepped out your comfort zone, you've gone out to the market, you've validated it, you're learning. Even like you said, it's not everything's going to work out.
No,
but you're still a part of it, and you're still learning. And I think that's really good for the audience to kind of extract that, because it's not going to be linear. It's going to be up and down, but you're still going to. But where you've spoken about the authenticity, the question, just so you know, was what makes you stand out. And you've just said authenticity. Because you're yourself. And I think this is becoming quite, I'm hearing this a lot now with people, especially on like your business platforms such as like LinkedIn and stuff like that, is the power of authenticity and stuff. But even people are portraying authenticity, like I'm being authentic, but they still are not necessarily being authentic. So for you,
can you see that? Can you spot it?
I can.
Yeah.
I feel it because it doesn't, I don't know, like I'm big on energy. And so when I'm in someone's presence, I'm like, for example, I knew straight away, well, you bring your donuts in, you have banter. you're a bit of a joker.
Yeah.
You can feel that vibe.
How important is banter though?
It's massive.
It's important,
You've got
right?
to, well, it breaks the barrier. It's
100%.
an icebreaker, you know, especially when you're doing business or you're having conversations with people. I mean, maybe if you go for your first interview, they might not like it, but maybe they might love it. You know, it depends on the person. But I think just the authenticity. I mean, I'm talking because I had an identity shift. I lost my identity and stuff. When could you put a pinpoint, if you can remember, when you leaned into authenticity, and how did it make you feel when you started, or have you always been authentic?
No, not at all. I was quite shy, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Was it introvert? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
When would I think it would have been around late 30s, early 40s.
So not even that long ago?
No, not that long ago.
Right.
It's just life experience. That's what teaches you. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like when you become a dad, right?
Oh, yeah.
The first time you change a nappy or you hold your baby, you just know, don't you?
Yeah.
It's just a natural instinct. Something just clicks, and I don't know what it was, but something just clicked, and it was kind of overnight. Just be me. Just do this, and just write like this, and stop trying to be somebody else. Because actually, I think you start to love yourself is probably the too strong of a statement, but like yourself, I guess, because everyone has self-doubt. And then there just comes a period where you just look back at things and go, oh, actually, do you know what I just realized what it was? I did. It's when my friends kept telling me, really proud of you. And I was like, why are you proud of me? And I kept saying, I'm lucky. Yeah,
you were saying about this earlier.
Yeah. And one of them just turned around and went, you're not lucky. You've made your own luck.
Yeah.
And it was that statement that just made me go, I can see it now. And I think from there, it was just a case of, well, how I've looked back at how I've done this. And it was just kind of like, you know, just being yourself and just be yourself. Because actually your story is really interesting. You know, is it different to other people? There's a lot of people who have a similar story, but yours is unique because it's you.
100%.
So I think that was the realization. And then it was just a case of, I'll just be myself. And like I said, people like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't. And yeah, I've worked in clinical and pharma where sometimes we don't quite fit, you know, in those sort of areas. But then I've worked in amazing people in sort of health tech and med tech where they need that personality and drive. It's important, you know, especially when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I think it was around then.
And that's interesting that wasn't obviously so long ago. So what do you feel if you look back through your 30s, and obviously, you know, you're involved with a lot of businesses, what do you feel was holding, I know you said about just being yourself, what do you feel was holding you back from being your authentic self for so long? Fear of?
Rejection.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that period when you're 30s is so important because you start to get heavily in debt for a start. You take a mortgage on, you need stuff to buy, you get cars, right? You have a kid. It becomes a moment where you kind of get locked in the system, and you've got to just be the person people want you to be. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to rock the boat. And it comes a point where you come out of there when, for me, it's probably being financially comfortable as well, if I'm being honest, to the point where, okay, well, if this doesn't work and I find myself, then it's okay. We're all right, basically. Or it also comes to a point where actually everybody else, I start to sound like everybody else.
Right.
So, you know, how can I actually be different? Well, I can just be me. So I think that's kind of that's the pathway that I've seen.
I think there's some good stuff there, actually, that rejection, that 30s. I mean, obviously I'm in my 30s myself, and I know what you're talking about. You're in the trenches in terms of like the responsibilities that you've got, the debt that you're in, all the kind of ground that you're going through. I've leaned into the power of authenticity for the last probably 18 months, and I've seen massive growth just personally. But I think just what you shared there about just being yourself, and obviously you've created your own look. I'd love to know then, just over this past 3 or 4 years of you just being you and being authentic and like doing it on like platforms such as LinkedIn, because it's heavily business focused. And what shifted? What's been the impact?
I've made friends.
Okay.
So I made friends from LinkedIn, good friends.
Yeah.
I've made good connections and network. I speak to all of my connections. Well, I send a message out to all of my connections, say hello. I'd say 90% of them ghost me. I'd say 7% respond, and over 7%, probably 3% turns into like a physical meeting, a face-to-face or a virtual.
That's good to pick up on that.
Yeah. So I use the platform to, just to build that. And just engagement. And I anyone who likes any of my stuff, I always send a thank you to.
You do?
Anyone who follows me or views your profile, I'll follow back with them. Yeah. And it's just keeping in touch. It's BD, basically. That's my BD. It's just keeping in touch with people. I'm also very nosy, so I want to know what everyone's doing. So I find out a lot of stuff. And that's good because I'm an investor as well. So I invest in like crypto and stuff like that. So it's good to know what like people are working on from a tech perspective. But yeah, I think I don't find it difficult as well. That's the other thing. I don't know whether it's because, I enjoy what I do. So like creating content and talking about what I do, it's easy to write.
Has it been easier since you've been authentic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So my stuff comes in the mornings, like that's when I'm more creative.
Okay.
And I always post on a Saturday. I post quite a lot of personal stuff on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I just find that's when it comes to me on a Friday or a Saturday. And obviously there's less people, I guess, looking on LinkedIn, but I have a core audience that kind of engages with that. And then I've invested I've got a videographer as well. So, video is obviously the biggest thing at the moment in terms of content creation, right? Yeah. So, this is great. But, I need somebody to organize that and to basically follow me around and create. And actually, I've got quite a lot of engagement from the video stuff that we've done.
Fantastic.
And actually, that's kind of a conversation starter as well. So they don't liked it, so I don't know, but saw your video. Or I used to do barbecue videos.
Mad what people see though, innit?
Yeah, so I used to do barbecue videos because someone said, just do videos. So I used to just like smoke meat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'd have like middle-aged guys who, reach out to me and go, hey, I've got a...
That you put an American accent there.
Yeah, I go, hey, I did, yeah, sorry. I've got agreed, it was American, that's why. I do this and I've got this like tech, like a barbecue setup, and I got 50 grand out of one of those barbecue videos because the guy, liked my video, reached out to him, told me, he said, had a call with him, exchanged barbecue stories. Then 3 weeks later, it was like, actually, we've got this project, you guys would be perfect.
Nah. Well, there you go. Sure.
Yeah, so it works. Yeah, it definitely works.
No, that's really good. And I think just everything that you've shared there, I think just goes into so much. I love the authenticity aspect, just being yourself, how it's had an impact on making it feel easier, like a bit of a weight's lifted off your shoulders. You're not in that. I guess as well, it's been a bit of a release as well, because obviously you've had, like you said, that pressure in your 30s. Now you've got to a bit of a place of, because you're talking about the financial side, you've got a bit more comfortable with that. And now you're thinking, do you know what?
Yeah. So there's, in terms of that financial stuff, there's something that was actually probably is just as important as well. So we're talking about like you get into the system and you get a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Like getting to a place where you're debt free is the most important thing from a mental health perspective, and trying to get out of the system, and even just putting some money. So the other thing I would have taught myself or said to myself is pay into a pension pot, which they always tell you to do from early on.
Yeah, they do.
But just invest like some money, even if it's 10% of what you have, into stocks and shares, because that stuff just over time just compounds and compounds and compounds. And that's like probably one of the things to do is just invest that money in stocks and shares, 10% or whatever it is in your salary, because it grows over time. And that will mean that you can get to a position when you're in your 40s where you're able to be debt free. So that's one of the things I think is really important as well. Yeah,
no, that's really, really sound advice, especially because, nowadays with so much out there, it's very easy to spend money. And like what you said, even when you're starting up, I think, again, just recalling on, if anyone was doing a business idea, is be lean with it. Because you can easily fall into the trap of, like I say, spending all that money on all this kind of stuff. Because you're in your 30s or your 20s, you're trying to find yourself, you're trying to build something, you're playing the long game.
You want to do the big launch, don't you?
Yeah, that's what you want to do the big launch. Like, I'm going to put... And I did a similar thing. Yeah. I did a big launch and it failed. Yeah. I wouldn't say $250,000, but, still thousands and thousands of pounds, which because it was that, I wanted that big shiny, got the drone, got the video, all the shiny stuff. And I think, again, it wasn't validated. There was so much rushing in it. I think... that patience as well aspect. I think you've displayed a lot of that. Obviously, I know you've not said that, but just hearing you've obviously had to have a lot of patience with with everything, like the deals, going and sending out messages and looking at the statistics of replies and still showing up though.
Yeah.
Off the back of that, I think for me, I commend that, because I think you said you feared rejection, but you still went for it and you didn't give up.
Yeah, you have to. You have to, because you get rejected, but at least then one day no one's going to, someone's not. You don't know who that's going to be. That could be the next big deal. That could be the thing that sends you down a different pathway. But yeah, just like, you've just got to hustle. We go back to like going all the way back now, aren't we, to the beginning. It's just like, you have to work. You have to graft. There is no shortcut. Like, even with all the tools now that you have, like, you still have to put the work in, and you just have to accept that it ain't going to be a quick thing. Like, once again, if I was 16, I'd write a 20-year plan. What do I want life to be like at 20? Because I did that when I was 40. What I want life to be like when I'm 60.
Okay.
So what do I want life to be like at 20? Well, I'd like a house. Maybe, maybe the mortgage is paid off. That'd be amazing. So how do I do that? And you start investing, maybe overpaying on your mortgage, whatever it is, right? Just literally write down that goal, because it's so fast. We want instant gratification. We want stuff now.
Yeah.
And I'm just, I'm still like a magpie. I still be like, oh, that looks nice, But then there's a little voice in my head now that goes, okay, let's go and just do like the analysis, the pros and the cons.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was 20, I didn't have that.
Yeah, you've got more of a tactical approach and stuff.
Yes.
But it's that experience that you'd spoken about. That obviously you've been through. So just in terms of like yourself from work, obviously, I think it's brilliant that you rock up to meetings now where you just got your baseball cap on and your hoodies, you're pretty like banterish, you're chilling. What do you, because obviously you said about LinkedIn, you love sharing your personal stuff online on a Saturday. Obviously you like spending time with your family and traveling and stuff. What is your release? I know you've already said about DJing, but what else do you like to do as fun that takes your mind off work and or keeps you creative outside of work?
Well, I started lifting I started the business in 2000. I started being a freelancer when I got made redundant in 2007. Turned into a business around 2009, and by 2012 I had employees. So I was stressed.
Okay.
And we were like growing like crazy. And I was working all sorts of hours, and I was eating loads of food, junk food. I just, sat in my chair all the time, and I got pretty big. So I just started basically going with my mates to the gym, proper spit and sawdust gym.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Cinderella.
It was Sandhu gym.
Was it?
It was.
I knew it.
Yeah. So you know it, yeah?
I know, yeah.
So I started going there, lifting weights, and I just started doing that, and that was a release for me. No real strategy, just lift and just get, just lift weight as an aggression release, really. So I started doing that for my mental health, my health. And then I really got interested into that. So I started to look into yoga, meditation, and bits like that. And that's how I actually got into health tech, because it was, I was able to do the tech.
Yeah.
And we were doing e-com at the time. So I was able to do the tech, but I was really interested in health. And then there was 2012, it was the first part of the transformation. So digital health was starting to be a thing. I just like doubled down on that. Once again, talk about spotting an opportunity.
Yeah.
That was the opportunity I spotted, and I doubled down on that. And that's how we grew super quick through something I was interested in. So gym's important to me. I just kind of go now because I like food, so I just try and...
You can't outwork a bad diet.
You can't outwork a bad diet. I know you can't.
If I look at them donuts down there and I have two of those...
So I'm not eating sugar at the moment, but...
You're not?
No, because once again, I'm really fascinated by... So once again, I'm 42, so now I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking longevity.
Of course, quality of life.
Quality of life. So longevity is important for me. So for me, it's a sugar reduction, because obviously being Asian, I'm more exposed to issues around sort of cardiac and sort of diabetes and stuff like that. And I'm really interested in the gut, like the power of the gut as well. And sugar's a really bad thing for that. So that's why I'm leaving that alone.
How long you been no sugar so far?
So I've cut my caffeine. So that is the decaf, by the way.
Okay.
I've cut my caffeine and cut my sugar down. It's been about 2 weeks now.
And what have you felt?
I felt shit for like 2 days, 3
Okay.
days.
Yeah.
And I came out of that. But yeah, my microbiome, I've been improving that as well. So so I've been working on that. And it's amazing. That's why I'm really fascinated by that, because that like affects everything. My mood, my sleep, my ability to do what I want to do. I enjoy cycling as well. I love getting out on the bike, trails, getting out on the road. I love being with my mates.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to Liverpool this weekend, like Friday, Saturday, just me and my two mates.
Nice.
And we're just going to get like really drunk.
Yeah, but you're enjoying life.
Yes, we're enjoying
that's the main
life.
thing.
You've got to have a balance, right? I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a great dad, I'm a great husband.
Yep.
But, you've got to also have a balance. And it's important because if you don't, this stuff becomes, you start to resent this stuff. And like I said, I've been with my wife now for 17 years and we've got a really good relationship in terms of that. So I like to go out with my friends and family. I like to, just travel and train, and I like to eat good food. I just try and enjoy life. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think I'm relating to this a lot as obviously a new dad. I mean, obviously how many kids you got?
I've got two, and it's important. That's the
Yeah.
other part is I probably should say as well, is I enjoy doing things obviously with the family as well.
Yeah.
Like I haven't said it, but it's a given, right? It's
course
like
it is,
it's just a given. So I love going out to the Peak District where we are, going out with the kids. We've got a pug as well, so we love going taking the dog out as well. And I love that. That for me is therapy. It improves my mental health.
Yeah, fills your cup up.
Yeah, and you feel warm. You feel great,
Yeah,
and like I'm very, very lucky that I have that. And I wouldn't trade that in for anything in the world. That being a dad, being a husband, and having that as well, that family unit is very important.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think just where you've spoken about just obviously the relationship you've got with your wife, but the fact that you still have your own time to have fun.
Yeah.
Because the reason I say this is because, I speak with a lot of business owners, people that are in, the 30s and 40s, and it's like, it's as though because they're in this relationship, because they're in this business, and maybe it's starting up, maybe it's a bit of a hustle, and they're feeling like they're having to put more time in to grow it, that they're actually neglecting their own fun. It's like the fun element it's like I can't have fun until I've got this, or I can't have fun until I've made this. But I'd love to know for you and your perspective on this is, from your own experience as well, having fun on the weekends, being that family man, and then going back into work and business. What's been the impact there? What's been the shift? Has it helped? Has it given you any more energy or changed anything?
The balance is important. It's also, if you don't have the time out with your friends and doing stuff you enjoy, you start to resent. Like I said, you start to resent that.
Yeah.
A happy wife is a happy life, so that's the most important thing.
I see them T-shirts everywhere.
So for me, it's just balance. It's just managing. Like I need sleep now. That's the most important thing for me. And just managing my diet. So if I have a weekend, and they're very like once a month, maybe once every 2 months, basically. It's not like go out every weekend. Can't do that.
Yeah.
So it's just a balance. So just looking after yourself and knowing, drink water, just try and stay off junk food, and get sleep. And maybe I will have the Monday off, but I don't mind doing some work at the weekends now and again, for an hour or so, because we all work different, right? Yeah. I'm not Monday to Friday 9 till 5. To be honest, I spend probably a couple of hours on a Saturday, but I get up at 5 o'clock. So I'll get up at 5 o'clock. So I've got a really long day. I can do 4 hours worth of work before I really need to do the family stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the way that it works for me at the moment is because I do that I can get up at that early time. I can take the dog out, I can do some work, and I can get quite a lot done before the day begins for most people. So that's working for me at the moment, and that's what I'm sticking to. The one thing I need to introduce is I have set up an ice bath outside.
But
I have not done it so far this year.
Have you not?
Like the ice was that thick this week.
Well, it's obviously snowed out.
Yeah, so I need to get into that, and I think hopefully that should kickstart the day even better if I can. I
think that might take you to a whole new level. I can definitely say from experience. I mean, I only do 3 minutes. It's enough for me.
Do you do it every day?
I don't do it every day. I do it 3 times a week. The reason being is I'm very much. When you said about like baby steps or small steps, I'm kind of like that myself. I feel if I kind of said to myself, I'll do it every morning, I don't think I'd get into it as much. I think if I give myself that, Luke, if you're going like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or I'm more inclined to do it. That's my. That's
no,
like
I agree.
That's
I
what
agree.
works for me because what it is when everybody gets like anything new or something like an ice bath or a sauna, infrared sauna, whatever. they want to do it every day.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's just if I say to myself, right, I'm in it 3 times, I'll build it up. Like, you start out like a minute, you know, it's only a minute.
You did a minute to start out with?
Yeah.
I did like 30 seconds.
Really?
That first bit when you went in the water and that heart, when you feel literally feel like your heart's going to go like, you know, aliens when it blows out, that's how you feel. Yeah. But yeah, I got up to about 5 minutes and it's I mean, no, I couldn't feel my fingers or toes.
No.
But it is a really, it's a great feeling when you come out of it. And I've just brought a sauna blanket. So I'm planning on doing that and then going into the sauna blanket.
Oh, yeah.
So
what's a sauna blanket? What's that?
So it's just literally like a sleeping blanket with the infrared sauna.
Oh, okay.
So you put it just up, so you just get the infrared sauna.
Yeah. So it sounds like now though as well. I mean, obviously you enjoy your life. You've got that balance. You're busy, but you're busy recovering as well. You're busy taking care of your health.
Yeah, recovery is important.
Yeah, and I can really sense now for you is you're really looking into the future. You know, obviously you've done that 20-year thing, what you want to be like when you're 60. So I want to know now if what you've written down. But share what you want to share. What do you want life to be like when you're 60?
So there's the standard stuff. You want your friends and your family and your kids to be healthy and nice human beings. But just my number one goal, my first thing that I wrote down is I just want to walk out. And it's going to sound weird, but I want to walk out naked with a cup of coffee every morning. Obviously decaf now. With a cup of coffee every morning, but with no shoes on. Just be grounded and download from the sun.
Okay.
And that for me is just being surrounded by nature.
Right.
You know, not being overlooked and just, I mean, you don't need to be naked. It can be in my pajamas, but
if you've got neighbours.
Yeah, if you've got neighbours.
Have a good sight.
But that was just my number one thing that I wanted to do. And that was just what I wrote down. And then the rest of it is just standard stuff. Like I said, you know, your kids to be happy. But everything's kind of working towards that. And then in terms of sort of the business stuff, you know, it's just having a diverse portfolio of stuff that's going on, businesses and brands.
Yeah.
And diversifying revenue. Like some things will work sometimes, some things won't. And that's why I'm involved in setting up these brands and businesses and trying to do 2 a year. And we'll see how it goes. You know, that's not just doing them on our own, but it's doing it in partnership with other people and learning on the way. And just keep investing. So investing in stocks and shares and just putting different pots of money away basically for a nice nest egg basically. So I'm able to do that as well. That's the other thing. Like you need that. Unfortunately, you need money to be able to do that. It's
a tool,
it's just a tool to do it. So just being smart with that. And I don't need much, you know. I've got a pickup truck outside that I'm just happy with. It does what I need to throw the bikes in it, and it just works for me. I've had the Range Rover, I've had all of that kind of stuff, but it's just the simple things basically at the moment. And then you really appreciate the luxuries more when you get them as well. So yeah, it's just that's it really. It's just longevity, like a good, like you said earlier, just like a good sort of quality of life, and enjoying it with your family.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about, isn't it, really?
Oh, massive.
Family.
Yeah, it is. And I think just that's come from the whole episode, I think, just the fact that, you know, obviously being in this area, wanting to give back, you got your friends, you got your family. But what I really like the most about that, you know, fast forwarding to 60 as a way, is you've actually spoken about your personal first, your personal side of what you want, rather than going into, this is what I want my business is, and then going personal. I like that because that's that human-centered approach in which you talk about. And it's something that I'm deeply passionate about as well, is that, you know, in order to give to others, you've got to give to yourself first and all that kind of stuff. So I think, and also now that you're doing the health side, you know, you're taking that, it sounds like, you know, very seriously. You want that quality of life because, well, you can't give to all these other people. You can't give your best self.
No,
if you're not looking after yourself.
No, you can't. And it's hard. Like, it's really hard, especially when, you know, food is so accessible. Like, it's like the food is, the quality of food's bad as well.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got to really watch what you eat. And then it's Christmas as well. You know, I mean, to be honest, I don't really drink, so I'm not drinking at home.
Yeah.
It's not something I do, but I'll go out now and again with my friends and have a couple of beers. But sugar's the one. Like, I've always said they should tax the crap out of sugar. Like, they should do it. It's because it's a killer basically. And if they did that and they made those donuts very, very expensive, they probably wouldn't have brought them for you. But that's the thing, like, you got to like, sugar's just a killer. So it's trying to avoid that. And I get addicted to sugar, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I get like those Haribos.
Like a sugar monster.
There's kids bring those Haribos home. I used to say you've got 24 hours to eat them because if they're there, that's it.
Pick at them. Yeah. Which ones are your favourites though?
I like the fizzy ones.
Yeah, the Tampastics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like the cherry ones?
Yeah,
They're my favourite.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're really good.
So now that you've obviously gone on this, just sidetrack off that. You know how you've obviously gone on this sugar kind of taking out. I'm sure you're gonna have a bit of Haribos in the future, right? Or are you gonna completely?
I try and avoid sweets. I think I'll get sugar from fruits.
Yeah.
That kind of kills any craving that I do have. But I have noticed when you improve the micro sort of environment in your gut, it's weird. It tells your brain, your brain craves sugar basically because that's what it's telling you. I want sugar. Yeah. So if you can just reset that and improve that, then you don't crave it, to be honest. So I have a PT as well at the moment, and he always sort of tells me that you got to get to the mindset that you look at food as fuel and not from an emotional perspective, because that's how people eat. They eat from an emotional perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
And so for me, that's where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to improve because I sit down a lot and my back's kind of, not in the best sort of state at the moment. So I'm trying to improve my posture. I'm just trying to do stuff just to stay alive.
Just want to stay alive.
Just want to stay alive. That's what I want to do. But as long as I can. But I mean, when you get to 40 and I'm sorry, you're 30 now, the clock's ticking. You've got to kind of just make the most of it.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to recover as well. So that's why I'm saying it's like if you can
recover is different when you're older.
Yeah, it is.
The bounce back isn't like what you were.
That's why that cold tub and the sauna and there's all these things that I'm doing. I even have one of those Chinese mats. Have you had those? Seen them?
No.
So it's like a mat where it's got spikes in it.
Yeah.
So,
I think I might have seen them.
Yeah. So sit on that for 20 minutes. Lay on that for 20 minutes,
right.
and it's really, really. I don't know if it's a placebo effect.
Okay.
But it's all this stuff, and it's all to do doing all of this kind of stuff is to improve quality of life, improve longevity, so I can do stuff that I enjoy and want to do. And if the output of that is monetary, then that's great, And if it isn't, then I probably won't be doing it for too long.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think just where you said, you want to stay alive. I mean, look, you don't want to be the richest person in the graveyard.
No.
You don't want to be, you've got all these assets, you've got all the, you can gloat about your portfolio and have all this business, but what you want that life with your children, your family, your friends. You want to be able to move around and have that quality there.
Yeah, you do. It's when you're younger, you want to be, don't you? I want to be rich. I want to be rich.
Of course. You want to be a millionaire by the time.
My kids want to be Logan Paul. They want to be YouTubers, right?
It's a big thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's it. They want to be that. But no, it just comes to a point where it's just you just want to be happy.
Yeah.
And happy is different to everybody. It's different to different people. Most people is the same, but it's it can be what it needs to be.
Okay, that's really good what you just shared. So what does happiness mean to you?
Love and warmth for my kids and my family and my friends. That's literally it.
Yeah.
I don't need anything else.
Yeah. No, that's really good. It's really good. Well, Mike, we're actually getting towards the end of the episode, my friend.
Is that an hour already?
Yeah.
Wow, that's gone quick.
It's gone rapido time. Before we get onto the final little bits, this is a question I do love to ask every single guest because, as you can probably tell today, I've asked different questions and stuff. But this one to me is important for you to answer it in a way that and what it means to you. So, what does mastering your life mean to you?
Oh Jesus, that's a hard question. Mastering your life mean to me. Once again, being authentic, just being true, and it's just being happy. That's as simple as that, really. If you want to master your life, you just want to be happy, right? And what do you need to do that, basically? What do you need? So yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I like that. I like the authenticity and that. And this is your version, There's absolutely no right or wrong here.
You could have set me up earlier for that, couldn't you?
don't like that. This is the good thing. This is the authenticity. Come on,
that's true.
Martin. You know what it's all about.
Yeah.
So look, where can people find you if they want to connect with you and stuff?
LinkedIn, Martin Sandhu. The company's Nuom.studio, and then I'll be setting up these events in Nottingham. So we'll be able to share those at some point. But you can find me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm most.
Definitely. Brilliant stuff. Well, look, final thing from me. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Amazing.
So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to our episode. If you've got any feedback or any questions for us as in regards to our in-person podcast episodes, just either drop a comment below, send us a message, and we would love to hear any sort of feedback, and we'll respond within 24 hours and make sure that the next episode is invaluable to your ears. Take care.